Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games. And in today's episode, we are starting our brand new book club series, playing through a little indie game called The Drifter. We've kind of been on an indie game hook. The first three games that all three of us picked were indie games, so that's kind of exciting.
Mm.
Kind of exciting. I'm your host, Jared. I'm joined by Kai and Ben as always. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Doing well. I don't know
Glad
if you saw
to be
this,
here.
but the studio who did 1,000 Times Resist has announced their new game.
Yes.
Prove I'm Human.
Prove I'm Human.
I believe
Yes.
something like that. Don't quote me on that. That might be wrong.
An AI that thinks they're human or something.
I don't know. I didn't really look
your-
into it. I was hoping someone in this room would know.
Yes, you're right. It's Prove You're Human.
Damn, look at me.
And that's
Yeah,
exactly
really.
what Ben said. It's like convincing an AI that it's not real, but it looks insane. I mean, very much on track with what Sunset Visitor was doing with 1,000 Times Resist. But I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I'm interested at least to give it a look and see, because I think
Yeah.
I warmed up to 1,000 times eventually and kind of appreciated the message it was trying to deliver, even if it wasn't the best way of necessarily delivering it. So.
And we all had like our thoughts on they were doing some things. This was like their very first video game they're doing, so kind of like a second swing at a video game. Is like they probably learned a lot from 1,000 Times Resist. So I'm curious to see how they apply that to this new game.
Just watch I haven't watched the fucking trailer. the interaction. No, if you keep watching it 25 seconds, the puzzle of the game is solving a
It was
captcha.
CAPTCHA. Yeah, it's like there's a whole thing on CAPTCHAs and everything, which is cool.
God.
Oh, there's FMV. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, they dabbled a little bit of FMV stuff in the first one.
Yeah,
and
do you remember the
like drive at the end where you're sitting in the back of the car going through the I read like an interview about them and they said they kind of wanted to lean into more of the FMV thing because it's a whole thing about it being like an outside world person and then you're inside avatar and how that separates and the differences between like your real world personality versus your like avatar personality, which is cool.
But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Like I said, glad to still be here. PSA, if you're going to do DIY, get yourself a stud finder.
Ben almost
died. Yeah, I almost died.
The irony of you dying hanging up art would have been
honestly it would have been perfect for the podcast.
Turn of events. Jared never hanging any pictures. He's like, I fucking told you this shit's dangerous. All right.
Damn.
Yeah, get yourself a stud finder that can find live wires, because drilling into live electrical wires is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not something you want to do. Don't just drill into your walls, which I honestly didn't even cross my mind until Ben had almost died doing it.
Me neither. I knew like the golden rule is, at least I don't know if it's different like wiring in the US, but like in the UK at least, you don't drill directly above a plug socket and you don't drill horizontal on a plug socket, because that's where the wires normally go. I didn't think about that. I just was like, and then, it would look good here.
Yeah.
And when the guy came round, the family friend come round to cut open the plasterboard, he showed me. I hit the live wire dead center. I genuinely, I shit you not. And there was like maybe a foot either side that I could have hit that would have just been plasterboard, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it over there. That's crazy.
Yes.
Well, we're glad you're here, man.
Always
glad
good
you
to double
didn't
check.
get electrocuted.
But generally, you are correct, Ben. You should be pretty safe as long as you don't go directly above or to the left or right.
Yeah.
Somehow you still manage to be successful in fighting.
Dude, I don't do thins by halves, man. Like it's
you just go all out.
Yeah. So this is your PA. Think before you drill, people.
Yes. Think before you drill.
Or use command strips, That's always an option.
The irony is I took the artwork down that was up with command strips to install something.
You're like, I'm a homeowner now.
Yeah.
Entire grid goes down. Your entire building collapses. You're like,
dude, honestly.
This is perfect. This is a learning experience. Watching both of you have homes and DIY stuff, I'm going to be just like have all the knowledge once it comes down to that.
You please, Also, you have access to essentially every physical tool in the world at this point, so
that's true.
Don't just drill into things.
If I let you
make sure
it's really
anything you need.
Yeah, make sure you have a nest egg as well, dog, because that electrician would have cost me 750 quid. So make sure you got something behind you if you're going to own a home.
Of dollars.
That is a lot of dollars.
depressing side note aside, how are you, Jared? You good?
I'm doing good. I've been playing, aside from what the internet has been saying, I've been playing so much Pokemon Champions. Yes,
it's been very conflicted, right? Like,
yes, it has its flaws. Yes, weirdly, Pokemon Company somehow again made a game that ran poorly, even though it's just a battle simulator. Like the frame rate's kind of all over the place. The resolution's a little weird sometimes.
How do you fuck up something that has one job?
I don't know, man.
When did this come out?
Last week.
Oh.
Yeah, this just came out.
This is like their new, like going forward, the World Championships and everything is going to be in this one program.
Yes. They have now a dedicated battle simulator, and it's less Pokemon Stadium and more Pokemon Battle Revolution. If you played that one, where it's
is that the one where you fight each other?
No. That's like the Tekken. That's Pokken Tournament. But Battle Revolution was just like renting Pokemon and then doing it that way. And that's kind of how this works. If you have Pokemon Home, then you can transfer Pokemon that are accessible for the game, because not every Pokemon is in the game. It's going to work off for like regulations with whatever the competitive format is on right now. But if you don't have Home, the whole idea is that it's like a gacha system where every like TCG Pocket, where every like 22 hours you can roll 9 Pokemon. You can pick one of those, and you can either rent it or you can buy it permanently with the in-game currency. Don't quote me on this either, I actually don't think there's a way of using real money for the currency specifically. You can buy the starter pack, which is like $6, and you can buy the battle pass, which I think is like a certain amount a month, but I don't know if you can buy the in-game currency. Again, don't quote me on that. I haven't been using any of that. I've been just running the in-game stuff too. But
I thought it was going to be like a Pokemon Showdown situation.
Revolution?
Yeah, like Showdown, where and it's kind of like that, because you can get your Pokemon. What? Revolution?
What is this fucking game called? Revolution?
Champions. Pokemon Champions. You can bring your Pokemon in. You can customize its stats. You can move its abilities. You can change its nature. You can do all of that. It costs a currency, but from what I've learned, it's pretty easy to kind of like get that currency by just doing battles normally. Doing battles, you kind of just get the currency by winning. Even losing, you still get some currency too. So it's not too bad. I've been enjoying it, and I've been doing what I've deemed the homeless run. I haven't connected Pokemon Home to my account. I've been just working on the Pokemon that I can get from the whole gacha system and building a team that way.
How do EVs and IVs work in this? Also, you are correct. You cannot buy victory points with money. You can only earn them through battles, and then they are also earned via the battle pass, which you can upgrade for $10 a month. I did not. People complaining about a free-to-play game is crazy. Just shut the fuck up.
Yes, and I did the starter pack, which is $6. So the starter pack is $6. I think it gives you like a certain amount of currency. It gives you extra storage space. So you start with like 30. I think this gave me like 85 or something like that, because you can only store
storage.
Yeah, you can only. Yeah, it's weird. You can only store a certain amount of Pokemon. But yeah, that's what people are complaining about. Again, it's free to start essentially, but from what I've played so far, it's supposed to be like an easy way to newcomers getting into Pokemon. But in my experience, unless you've been playing Pokemon like your whole life, have like a living dex in Pokemon Home, it's actually not easy to like get the Pokemon you want.
Yeah, it also just seems like it's super sweaty, and like if you actually want to try and compete, like people who know EVs and IVs and stuff are going to have like that, which I guess is kind of like the comp scene anyway. Like if you was new to actual like competitive Pokemon,
and there's you can do competitive, and there's casual battles too, right? There's a non-ranked system through this, so you could just do casual battles if you want to do that as well.
Well, hopefully the pull rate is like better than whatever the fuck happened to TCG Pocket, because the pull rates in TCG Pocket have just tanked, dog.
I say that I did pull a shiny full art Venusaur last night, but I mean that's probably the first card in like months that I pulled. That's not
this
all
is
common.
Only for Switch?
It's Switch, and there's a mobile version coming soon. The rumors are around July or June, but it is Switch 2, and then it's coming to mobile as well.
Wild. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because you can transfer your Pokemon from Pokemon Go into Home, and then from Home into Champions. So they're trying to pull that mobile market too, right? If you just have a phone and you have Pokemon Go, you could still be part of the competitive scene, even if you don't have the main games that are happening.
Back to the EV/IV question. How does that work? Like, how does it? What?
So there's no. I get these two mixed up all the time. There's no EVs. There is IVs that you could do. I think everything's to 31 automatically, but you can move the stats however you want. When you go into the stats screen, it'll have its nature. Like if it's adamant, it's up and attack, down special attack. But there's a slider where you can move those however you want. And then it's like, I think it's like 2 victory points per stat if you want to do that. If you're wanting to adjust.
Okay. To answer the question, they removed traditional IV and effort values, replacing them with a simplified system where Pokemon have maximum IVs by default.
Yes, they all have 31.
Instead of 510 EVs, the player distributes 66 stat points directly into stats with a maximum of 32 stat points per stat, ensuring faster, more accessible competitive team building.
Yeah. I've been playing a ton of it. I've been having fun. People like to complain, but I can see some of the
what is the meta right now?
The meta right now is kind of ones that have been normal. It's Whimsicott, Tyranitar, Garchomp, Gardevoir, and Hatterene are kind of intermittently being switched around.
Give me that Trick Room shit, dog.
Oh yeah, a lot of Trick Room. Pelipper, Rain teams have been. Honestly, weather, Sandstorm, Sunny Day, Rain are all very prominent and competitive right now.
The 2 S tier singles tier list, which once again this is a random website, so grain of salt, is Garchomp and Primarina.
Yeah,
those are the 2 S tier Pokemon.
Yeah, Garchomp is.
Good job, Garchomp, with your insanely high attack stats.
No, I've been loving it. I've been having fun playing with the not meta because it's hipster and me being like, I'm going to use this Pokemon instead. But they have all the new megas. Well, not all of the new megas, but a lot of the new megas from ZA that have new abilities here too, which is a lot of fun because ZA didn't have abilities in that game. There was no abilities at all.
I may jump into it when it comes to mobile. I mean, I've got my Switch. I could fuck around with it.
Yeah.
It seems like it's something that's potentially interesting. The idea of getting like dunked on as a Switch 2 owner by somebody who's just downloaded it to their fucking like.
That's the problem. And you could tell too, because people come in and they have a full team of shinies, and I was like, you have a living Dex in Pokemon Home. Yeah, you have any Pokemon you could ever want. Well, that's the thing. If you're a newcomer and you're like, man, I love Scizor, I want to use Scizor, you can't use Scizor unless you either have a pre-existing game you can transfer it to, or you just run the gacha a couple times until you can get a Scizor. Like that's the only way to do that. So if you're not in the pre-existing ecosystem, then you're just kind of gambling on Pokemon.
What are people upset about?
People are upset about there's performance issues, there's some frame rate, there's some resolution issues. People are upset.
I mean, it's a Pokemon game.
Right? Exactly.
What did you expect?
People are upset with a little bit of the they've dumbed down a lot of the competitive features to make it a little more accessible for new players. So a lot of the sweaty nerds are kind of upset that they're making things easier for people. They've also status conditions like paralyze, freeze. A lot of that stuff has been reduced. Like paralyze doesn't do like half speed anymore. It's like a quarter of it. And like you automatically wake up and unthaw from freeze after 3 turns. So it's like things like that. They've kind of readjusted meta and some things to make it more accessible for new players too. Which, the sweaty nerds are just like slamming their foreheads on the keyboard being like, why is this not hard? I want this to be difficult. But I'm trapped in Great Bowl tier right now because I'm doing a bad job. Probably because I'm not running meta teams, but that's just me. I'm running up the ranks trying to get to Master Ball.
This is there's a comic here. I'll share it with you because you said that out loud and verbally. I feel that.
I don't know, it was just a verbatim comic that someone had. I can't see what does it say?
It says, I finally found it after 15 years, the Scroll of Truth, and it says you probably aren't good enough at the game for the meta to matter. He throws it.
Yes, exactly. So that's the big thing too. So I'm just having fun with Pokemon that I want to have fun with. Like I'm not gonna run meta Pokemon, and I said, I have access to all of the games in Pokemon Go and everything, so I could transfer it. But I was like, I want to see what this looks like. Just like if someone was going into this,
calling it a homeless run is wild.
Because I'm not using home. I mean, it's funny.
It's a homeless run. I only exclusively play midday in parks under direct sunlight.
Yeah. I've been rocking a water team, rocking Mega Starmie getting those long legs.
God, I can't get behind the Mega stuff. It's just like, come on. What are we doing?
People have been begging for Megas for the last 15 years to come back, so it makes sense they finally did. So
I wasn't behind the Dynamax. The Dynamax was weird to me. I was like, why is this Pokemon just like massive?
Yeah, Megas are cool because you can kind of get an evolution that's temporary without actually giving that Pokemon an evolution, giving new abilities, things like that, which is fun. Yeah.
Some of them look spooky.
Yeah, they look kind of crazy. But I've been loving it. I played for like 3 hours yesterday, just going back and forth in between Great Ball, losing and then winning, and then losing and then winning. So
this has been the gaming news section of the podcast.
Yeah, hey, look at that! Look at that! Oh, dang it! I was supposed to prep this beforehand, but for some reason, this has nothing to do with Pokemon. We're moving on to another topic. I was going through the voice memos on my phone. Oh, it's because I got like a little like I'm now officially a content creator because I have a little tiny hand mic, little tiny microphone that I can hold in my hand when I ultimately make videos that I may or may not make.
I have one that's been sat in my drawer that I've just never actually busted out.
Jared's finally getting on the TikTok train 9 years later.
Yeah.
So, hold up.
I heard now's for short form video. I think
hold your time. Burn it. Let me
now is the time. But I was testing it out, going through just using the voice memos on my phone. And I was like, I have a lot of voice memos on my phone, so I was scrolling through them, and I found one that was super old, and it was like an hour and a half long. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I found out that is the recording for our first episode of Awkward at Time. It was done via my phone. It's the exact recording. Like I listened back to it, and that's how we recorded episode 1. Was just off my iPhone with a pair of Apple headphones that me and Kai shared in between us.
And look at how far we've come.
That is crazy.
The quality of the commentary has not changed, but the quality of the audio has.
Yes.
So that's all that matters.
The other thing that I had saw was randomly on my YouTube For You page, I got recommended our old podcast, Game and a Half. One of the episodes
you got recommended our podcast?
Yep. It came up on my For You page on YouTube, and it was our top 20 games of the decade going through 2009, 2019. And I realized that we're getting close to being able to do that again. From 2019 to 2029. And that's kind of like
real rough.
And it kind of hurt my brain.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. But that would be fun to do. We should do that. We should recreate that episode once the time comes of 2019 to 2029 and creating a tier list of games between those years.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. I know that's looking at 3 years. I'll have a 3-year-old at that point. God, we have to move on before my brain explodes. Something else. Okay, let's do some housekeeping before we jump into this episode. Whether this is your first episode or your 307th episode, welcome to Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games in a book club format. What we do is myself, Kai, and Ben each take turns playing a game, then break it down into sections, come together every other week to talk about those sections specifically. If you're brand new, you jumped in at the right time. This is the start of a new book club game, and it's the perfect time to grab the game, join the conversation, and play along with us. It's hilarious, and I'll get into this in a second, but we now have a new channel in our Discord for game recommendations where you all at home listening can recommend a game for us to play through for the main book club series. And let me get their name so I don't forget who it actually was. I think it was Boolean on the Discord. Oh yeah, recommended The Drifter. So I mean,
oh damn, wild!
And we're listening to our audience, and we definitely chose it because that person specifically put it in the Discord.
Well,
this one's I asked Gemini for games similar to Disco.
Yeah, because the finale as of recording this, the finale of Dispatch isn't out yet, so no one knows. We haven't announced what the next series is gonna be. So when I saw them recommend The Drifter, I was like,
no, Jared, we knew. This is for Boolean and the fans. This is what we're doing.
I mean, yeah, this wasn't for you, buddy. That's for you.
And I think we're still like 100% on track for the play along curse, right? Like the game goes on sale at some point in the recording of the season.
Yeah, even though it wasn't until later with Dispatch. Dispatch did go on sale like a couple weeks after we had started playing. So I mean, hey. Look out for those Steam sales, baby.
How much was The Drifter? I didn't even look.
I paid $14.99, $20.
Yeah,
$20.
I paid like £17 here in the UK.
I bought it on sale. It was like a 20% off when I bought it, so I bought it for like $16.
It's $19.99 currently.
Yeah.
So hopefully it goes back on sale once we actually start releasing these episodes.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
On top of that, we also have another side series on the show called Get Wrecked, where one of us from Play Along is joined by a guest, and we swap video game recommendations. This month's episode, I'm going to be joined by Kay, Moondust Cappuccino on Twitch, and we're going to be talking about Pokemon Explorers of Sky and Little Goody Two Shoes. So if either of those, you guys have to just like, at some point, I don't know if Kai would like Ben, you might like it. Little Goody Two Shoes is crazy. It like sets it up as like a very cute game and gets very like dark and kind of gory too. It's one of those.
Little Goody Two Shoes.
Yes, yeah, it's very very kind of grun coded, where it's like kind of the like subvert your expectation kind of game. But I've been having fun with it. It's been doing some crazy shit.
It's giving me a Yu-Gi-Oh anime art style.
Yes, it has like a 90s anime intro that they had created, and it looks like a 90s anime intro, and it's super cool. Like Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh, it's super cool.
I need to play those like Pokemon spin-off games. Like, I mean, like first of all, I need to play Pokemon Emerald because like used to like.
You haven't played Pokemon? Why am I just finding this out now?
You 100% know we have spoke about this before.
Well, I blocked it out because it's so upsetting.
That's what it is.
But like, yeah, like those whole like Explorers and like Mystery Team and all of that stuff. Like, I need to play those spin-off games.
I mean, hey Ben, what better time than playing with the Get Wrecked that's going up later this month?
And I tell you what, I wanted to say on the podcast because I don't think I've actually said it to Kai. Kai, I played I Am Your Beast and fucking amazing game. It's a brilliant recommendation.
To go a little worried.
Is this comparing it to the anime one that we played that was like
Neon White?
Neon White. Is it how close?
It's on par with Neon White, I'd say. Okay. Yeah, like it's got like the guy who voices Alfonso, like the main character, is just fucking brilliant, and the whole story is like really interesting. The game levels are super replayable. Yeah, they're fun. The art style is like fucking brilliant.
Not
and that there's a really cool like side bit where it's called the support group mode, where you can go and play through extra levels that are like framed as people who survived the attacks doing like a peer support group because they were attacked by this guy, and it's like extra content. It's fucking brilliant. It's on Game Pass, dude. If you have access to Game Pass, go play it.
Not that I don't trust I didn't trust your opinion, Kai, but as Ben had played Neon White, I was curious because there was like some rumblings about comparisons between Neon White and this, so I'll have to check it out. I love Neon White.
Yeah, it's like a grounded military version of Neon White. It's not like evangelical like heaven, but same principle, like the speed running and all of that stuff. Like
hell yeah. Did you 100% that, Kai? You 100% I Am Your Beast?
I did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I got very close.
Here, some of them's like really hard because it's like you have to get X amount of swarm kills with hornet nests.
I have 84% of achievements earned, 26 out of 31, and there's just some of them. It's the earn S rank on all challenge levels. Like literally is.
That's how Neon White was, where I was like, I'm not gonna be able to beat this time. I'm just gonna move on.
One of them, it's not even like to like S rank it. One of the levels you have to avoid helicopter fire in a level where you have to defeat all of the enemies while an attack helicopter is attacking you, and it's just like it's impossible. Like there's no way.
It's very much like if you enjoy speed running, you would enjoy S rank because a lot of it is just like cheesing the levels as much as problem. Where it's like it was never meant to be played this way, but you have to figure out how to get it under like 30 seconds. And so you just keep replaying it over and over and over again until you can get the fucking speed quick enough to get the achievement.
But dude, if you like Neon White, go play I Am Your Beast. It's fucking brilliant.
I'll add to the list. I had brought it up before. If you were part of our Discord, I've done a little bit of kind of moving around and making new channels there. Now there's a specific video game book club category there. So if you're wanting to come to the Discord just for the book club, that's there. But it'll have the main channel of whatever main game we are playing through, which now will be the Drifter. And now there is a section for game recommendations. So what I was thinking is you can recommend as many games as you want. Just dump them in there. I have a spreadsheet that I have now created that I will share with two of them over here. And every now and then we'll pick a game from that list. Usually we each go through and pick one game, maybe every other time. Instead of picking a game for ourselves, we'll just look through the list of recommended games that you guys have recommended. So if there's anything you want us to play, if there's anything you're curious of, like what are your thoughts on, if you want to subject us to a game that we'll hate, so you can do any one of those things.
I do want to just like asterisk and say the last time this happened we did be aware that we may not enjoy the game you recommend, so don't recommend anything that is like the
think about it from a content creation mindset, not I love this game and I would love for you to experience it, because that never works for you. So just be like, what would be interesting to listen about for
and the one and only stipulation, there's no stipulations for games, but if you can get the game 20 hours and under, that works best for our structure.
Actually, there's a lot of things. 20 hours and under. Like
no isometric 90s JRPG.
No, that's fine. As long as it fits the time frame, you guys recommend anything you want. It does not matter. I would say at the max 30. That's pushing it for some games too, but we found that 20 or under just fits perfectly for our structure. We usually do 4 episodes over 2 months of the game, but we've dipped into doing 5, so I think 30 is not out of the question. Some of our series have gone to games like that. So, but again, if you can make it 20 or under, that would be ideal. But yeah, if you have games you want us to play, let us know on socials, Instagram and Blue Sky, or join the Discord and you can get your game recommended there.
I would like to be able to redeem ourselves for the Chrono Trigger Super Mario RPG stain that is on our podcast. I feel like
haven't taken a game recommendation in 5 years because of this series.
In other news, I am also playing Disco Elysium again.
I saw you on Steam playing Disco Elysium again. How is it? How is it coming back after like
6 hours deep and
5 hours?
It's wonderful. What a wonderful game.
We gotta play.
I was also recommended Esoteric Ebb.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Esoteric. Ben brought that up like a couple weeks ago.
Yes, by someone at work. When I mentioned I was playing through Disco, they were like, "You would really like this." So maybe future podcast game, and it's right in that 20-30 hour sweet spot. So,
well, Ben's recommended it. I've had lots of people on social media talk about Esoteric Ebb and how it is just fun fantasy Disco Elysium. So I'm right. I'm so on board with that.
Potentially watch this space.
Watch this space.
Better watch.
Check
that.
in. Check
back in. Okay, well, with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's finally jump into. I know we haven't been the podcast itself hasn't been.
Well,
now,
you mean 51 minutes of housekeeping, which is probably going to be longer than the entire section of talking about the Drifter. Yeah.
So for this first episode of the Drifter, we're just going through. If you checked out, make sure to look at socials or the Discord for the breakdown of the schedule for the Drifter. But we're going through the prologue and chapter 1 of this, which is short. I think all of us clocked in sub an hour for this first section. I think I put like 45 minutes or so into it.
33 minutes. That's my playtime.
My homie was. I was like double checking and triple checking everything because if we'll get into it, but if you're clicking on things multiple times, sometimes you get different reactions from them, which I kind of really enjoyed. But what we do at the beginning of playing through a brand new game for the show is we kind of go around and gauge our history and experience with the game. I'll start in the sense that I actually didn't know this existed until Ben. No, Kai, you reckon? Is this yours? Whose game is this?
This is my record.
Okay. Until Kai had brought it up to me, I had to, we're bulking for the podcast, so I had him let me know a little bit ahead of time so I can plan accordingly. But I honestly did not know about this until you had brought it up. Kai, you had said that you went to the internet to find games.
Not the internet, to our AI overlords.
Oh yes,
I went to Google Gemini because I'm boycotting ChatGPT.
Praise be Gemini.
Yeah, praise be.
And I said, hey, I like Disco Elysium and Norco and Kentucky Route Zero.
Coded.
Give me games in that vein that are within this time period. And as shitty as AI is for a lot of things, it's actually pretty good at that. So
recommendations.
It recommended the Drifter and a bunch of other things that I looked at and decided against. But I decided that this is perfect. I also think, interestingly, I think this game is built in a custom engine that the developer made, which is
that's shit.
Very weird to do, especially for a game of this size.
Especially for an indie dev.
Yeah.
No wonder they just use a Unity or something like.
Yeah,
like
so it's built in this thing.
engine.
Yeah, it's built in this thing called the Drifter engine, which is built on an open source framework. But yeah, crazy that someone literally.
That's a lot of effort to go through when you could just use pre-existing engines.
Making a whole ass engine for sure.
Yeah, fascinating.
I wonder if I don't know if we'll ever be able to find this out, but I wonder if they tried making it and couldn't get what they wanted out of a Unity or something like that, and so.
Well, it's built on top of Unity. It's built on this thing called PowerQuest, which I guess is a Unity tool. But it's just fascinating that they were like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna build my own engine. It's fine." I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it says PowerQuest, which is a Unity tool developed by the Dave Lloyd, who is the creator of this.
So he made the Unity tool to be able to make his own engine.
Yeah, for creating 2D point-and-click adventures.
Flex. Well. I will say that
patent that shit, my brother. Patent that shit.
It runs great.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
No complaints. Very nice.
I have a small complaint, but
okay. Well, we'll get into that.
Ben, what about you?
Yeah, do you know anything about this game?
No, I don't. I don't actually know. Yeah, I couldn't find, like, nobody seemed to be talking about it. I hadn't heard anything about it. But I think immediately when I looked at it, and I was like, oh, like, it reminds me of like Kentucky. It reminds me of Norco.
Yeah.
And interested to see, because I mean, we'll get to it at the end, but it seems like maybe there's some sort of like supernatural stuff happening.
Fantastical
like,
realism, baby. I'm already feeling it.
Not as all as it seems.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't actually know much, but very interested. It seems up my alley for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I did this at the end of Dispatch, but I'll also read through the Steam description for the Drifter. It says, a pulp adventure thriller. A murdered drifter awakens, alive again, seconds before his death. Hunted and hunted help him untangle a mad web of conspiracies in this fast-paced point-and-click thrill ride. And when I read that the first time, I kind of had a general idea of what that meant, and now playing through, I have a better understanding of this whole dying, coming back right before, and solving the puzzle of not dying again, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that kind of gameplay, that kind of like back and forth, and that take on like solving a puzzle, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting premise.
Yeah. So starting off, we play as Mick Carter, which in the back of a train car, and he seems a little, we talked about the homeless run, he seems a little homeless, which I think this is a big theme for the first first section, which he doesn't like to be called homeless. He's a drifter, by the way. He
has plenty of places that he can bed down, but he just doesn't have a home.
Exactly. And we kind of get introduced to the music, the visual style. I was surprised. I mean, Kai had brought up the voice acting was a little weird for him, but I realize this was like fully voice acted game. Like this game is fully voice acted with all the characters, which I thought was really cool.
It's just so aggressively Australian. And I mean that in the worst way possible. It's just
okay. That's crazy.
They just have one of the stupidest accents of all time, and it's like so sorry trying to take a serious.
I have Australian friends, by the way. I'm sorry.
Well, it's fine, but whatever. They know that their accent is dumb as hell. But it's just like everything. Once again, this is supposed to be like a serious, like gritty, and then him just being like, "Oi, I'm gonna be on a train," and you're just like, "Why? Why is this your voice?"
He does not sound like this. He does sound like grizzled, but he just has an Australian accent. That's like you're saying Australians can't have like gritty, emotional.
Why do you think all the Australian actors who come to the United States speaking American accents?
People like you that hate them for their voice,
dumbass accent. That's why. That's why they all. You think people like Chris Hemsworth with his accent? That's why he has, when he's in Thor, he has to talk like a regular person.
He has an accent in Thor.
No, well, yeah, he's American. Like.
He's an American accent.
Thor doesn't have an American accent in the Marvel movies. He has an accent.
He sure as fuck is an Australian, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. He's not like, hey, buddy, Mjolnir, get over here.
He's also not like, hey, I'm Thor. I got myself a hammer. Like that's not what he sounds like. That would be insane. Everyone agrees that's an insane thing.
I like American country Thor better.
It's interesting because he's got the kind of like Australian key, like New Zealandy accent. Right. But he also sounds like he's been smoking like 40 Marlboro and doing a bottle of Jack a day for like 60 years.
Let's find out.
So fucking gruff.
Adrian Vaughn plays the voice of. Oh my gosh, I did not expect this man to look like this. What
does he look? Oh, yeah. I mean, he looks like a white guy.
I'm trying to see what else he did. He has The Drifter and Arctic Adventure and Paradigm on his IMDb.
Just be his voice.
Are you watching it? Is it the YouTube video?
He's the announcer in Harold Halibut.
Oh,
that is two very different accents.
That is crazy. AW announcer in Harold Halibut. That's crazy.
Interesting.
It's I don't know how to explain it. Like it's very.
I didn't have a problem with this. I mean, it's like I was more surprised by the voice acting, but I was like, it's fine. I guess
I don't necessarily have like a problem with it, but I can. It does feel very forced, right? Like if I said to you, like, what does like a gruff Australian accent sound like? This is what you would come up with.
Whatever you're imagining in your head, that's what Carter sounds like.
You're correct. It once again, it hasn't ruined the game for me. It's just it took me a minute to adjust to. I was not expecting it to be so quite aggressively gruff Australian. I was like, especially because once again, I did very little research for this game. I didn't even know it was an Australian game. So I was just expecting, default generic ass accent. And I got like, fucking.
He's not American.
I got Crocodile Dundee. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Well, not only that, I'm not complaining about like the amount of voice acting, but Carter, he talks a lot. He does an internal monologue and he does an external like talking a lot too. So you hear his voice a lot even in this first like 45 minutes of this game, which again, not derogatory for me. I'm just saying.
It is my complaint, ironically, is not about the voice, but is about the font they chose for the subtitles, because it is near fucking unreadable. Like to the point where like I had to go into the options and there's an advanced option to change it to what they call the
H. Have accessibility option so that he can read.
Dude, I can't. It is like egregiously pixelated to the point that like I have to fucking squint and I'm like, what does that say? And don't get me wrong, that's 100% me, because I'm one of those fucking Netflix generation people that has to have the subtitles on.
When it goes away and you can't understand what's happening on the screen.
Ben has Subway Surfers and Kinetic Sand videos playing on his second monitor, and he's like, I can't read anything.
It's fully me, but it's a very interesting font choice because it is very pixelated and almost unreadable for me.
Yeah, I hadn't really noticed it, but now that I'm looking
young
at
eyes,
it,
though, bro. Like,
okay, well, you're not that much older than I am.
Those young eyes, those 31-year-old young eyes. So spry.
I'm telling you though, like, actually look at the font. It is egregious.
I was looking at it and I was like, damn, he's right.
It's an 8-bit ass font. I agree with you. It's not the
but it's like 8-bit that's like then been like blown up, so it's kind of like blurry a little bit, and you can't really see what the letters are.
But Carter isn't alone in the back of this train car. There's another individual that is there who is sleeping under a blanket, who in turn going over and taking the blanket on and shaking him a little bit. He's kind of spouting some nonsense, saying that like don't go outside and they're gonna catch us again or we can't die again, which starts immediately, because I read the Steam description, immediately starts being like, oh, something's going on here. Like clearly this crazy old man knows something that our main character and the player too does not know. And I was like, okay.
And also like the game kind of plays into that like stereotype of like crazy homeless person as well, right? Because it's like, oh, of course, like there's another guy who's like roaming the trains and he's got something going on. He's talking about people with glowing eyes and he's talking about re-dying again. And you're like, okay, dude, sure. Like, I'm just going to leave you be. And then the fucking poor dude, like you manage to, well, first he attacks you, right? Like you try and wake him up and like he attacks you with this crowbar. And you have to throw the tarpaulin over him.
Which is hilarious. Like a cat that's fighting someone else. He just put a blanket over them so they calm down.
And then he's like fucking thrashing away in the tarpaulin, and you like use the bar to crank the door open on the cart. And then there's like a blinding light. And that's when I was like, oh shit, okay. And I think Nick even comments, he's like, oh, like it's the Met Police or whatever. Like they're gonna.
He tries to reason with them. He's like, hey, he's trying to like lie, like, hey, we're part of the train, like we're part of everything on here. And then
part of the train.
We're part of the train.
I'm a train. I identify as a train.
The man that was in there with us just gets lit up, and I was not expecting, just like blood everywhere. He just gets shot.
Fucking RoboCop, bro. He just gets fucking filled with lead.
And I couldn't tell. It seemed like this was like laser weapons. Am I crazy for thinking that?
They're just guns.
There's guns? Okay.
That would be crazy if they were lazy weapons.
Lazy weapons?
I might do it.
Hey,
the only reason I say that is because inevitably we see theoretically the people we believe to be the perpetrators have said murder, and they just have regular ass guns.
But Mick does dash out the window and rolls down the hill, avoiding the attack, which he doesn't damage his phone. His phone falls out of his pocket. But his phone.
No, you have to climb through the top of the hatch and then basically throw yourself down a hill. And in doing so, you drop your backpack, but your phone dies. Before we go, how are y'all feeling about the point and click gameplay?
I love it. I forget how much. I don't know if it's just like this like universe that it's already, because this game's already kind of like hooked me in the mystery and the world and everything like that. But it's I have to be less involved. It's weird because being less involved mechanically with the controls. Obviously, there's more to like deduce with trying to solve the puzzle. But I kind of like just being able to like point and click and move my character around and like interact with the world that way. There's less interacting that I have to personally do on like my keyboard. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I have found, and I think I messaged you guys, and it's something you pick up quite quickly, but like you have to do things multiple times sometimes. You have to
Yeah.
talk to the same person multiple times to like, it's almost like a fragmented conversation, like it doesn't continue until you speak again.
Or even not even conversations, just like interacting with objects, and we'll get to like this broken down car that you have to into, and yeah,
the tarpaulin you have to pull off of him twice and stuff like that. So, but once you kind of get into that mentality, I think that is like a point and click mentality, though. I think that is like an old school, like, I've not played them, but I imagine this is like what the Monkey Island games are kind of like, where it's a lot of like, I've got this item, what does it interact with, and like, how
using it on everything around to see if it can interact with everything or anything. Like I did that with the car that's next to the guy over here, like just clicking and interacting. Like I didn't know until later on, like I could pop the hood open on the car. So it's just like those kind of interactions are really cool.
Yeah, I mean, in playing Disco as well, I think it would be nice to have, because like in Disco you tab to see like the objects that you can interact with, because it highlights them, it does like an outline. So like something like that to be a little bit more of a guide of like, what have I interacted with? And they do this really well in what are those games that I played? The puzzle games.
The Obra Inn.
No,
the Obra Dinn or whatever. The Curse of the Golden Idol?
Yeah, the Curse of the Golden Idol. So, like, the way that game works is that, like, there's obviously interactable items, but you have, like, a checklisting system that shows, like, things that you've interacted with, things that, like, are grayed out that are essentially, like, you've completed the interaction with this, and things that have multiple interactions, so you can kind of, like, track of, like, oh, okay, I need to re-talk to this character, or I need to re-interact with this, like, item. It's still relevant to the story rather than it just being, like, some information that you gather.
There's a tiny bit of that here, because if you put your cursor up to the top of the screen, it's your inventory, but you also can like see a list of the information you've gathered already, so you can see like, oh, I've opened the car hood, or I've talked to the guy that's right here, and so like you can kind of get a list breakdown, but it's not as extensive as what you were saying.
It's kind of like a rumor sort of thing of like what you've gathered. Like, so if you go in the top left, it will show you like, oh, like I've popped the hood of the car, but I don't have any petrol to get it started and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens later on. I mean, at the minute, the first section wasn't like so big that I was kind of like, oh, I've done so much walking around and now I've got to walk back to this. Like, there was only kind of like 3 rooms, small. I guess, if you count it as like that. So like if it gets bigger later on, then maybe I'd kind of be like, oh, like now I'm having to walk all the way back to talk to this person, then it might become an issue. But I don't know how big the environments are going to be. In the sections going forward, like
it also seems like this section is pretty like tutorial based, like it's pretty simplistic, because like once we get to the end of this section, there's like clearly like more of a focus on mechanically how the puzzling works, especially like with the deaths, where you're like, oh, okay, there's like a certain way you have to do things in a certain like order, right? And like even in the preview of this game, there's sections where like a wheel opens up like around your body, and there's like multiple options of what you can choose to do in a scenario, and like how you do it. So like there's whole functionality that's coming down the road later.
Oh, this was like a gameplay
like if you watch the preview on Steam, like there's like additional functionality as we move into the game, where like it's more like selection based, like QTE style kind of functionality. So I think it's just that it's this first section, they just kind of want you to get like your bearings and figure out like, oh, this is how to use items. You need to talk to people. Sometimes you need to talk to people twice, and so I think it'll probably become more like cohesive and clear and a little bit more fleshed out as we get deeper into the game.
Yeah, but as Mick is down here, the whole thing he's trying to do is charge his phone so he can get to his sister's house. Sister's house.
Yeah, it starts off, we have a call from the sister, and basically she's like, oh yeah, like come to the house. Like he's supposed to be staying with her because we find out his mum died and they're planning the funeral.
That's why he's back in town.
He's back in town. But he's like, oh yeah, I'll meet you at the house on so and so. And she's like, no, dude, I haven't lived there for like a fucking year. And he's like, oh well, what's your new address? And she was like, oh, my new address is, and then the phone dies.
The phone dies immediately, of course, right? And he like most of us too, when he's asked what like, oh yeah, what's like her phone number? I'll use my phone. He doesn't know her phone number either, which I was like, yeah,
you always got to know your family's phone
I know
number.
my wife's phone number. And that's I kind of know your phone number.
I know Ellie's phone number and my own phone number, and that is it.
That's hey, as long as you got one memorized, where it's like as long as you have an emergency contact up in the dome, that's all.
It's really helpful because my wife's phone number is the same except for like a couple of the last numbers. Like it's pretty much identical to mine. So it's 925.
Give her a call, everybody.
Give her.
So now we kind of set out on the mission of trying to find
her phone. Yeah.
And how to charge our phone. The first thing I did was I talked to Bill. I spoke to the dude who was at the barrel. And it turns out, is it Nick or Mick?
It's Mick. Mick Carter.
Mick.
With an M.
It turns out
he goes by Carter, I think, for the most, because we talked to the reporter, he says Carter is his name.
Yeah. And Mick knows Bill. Bill used to access a shelter that Mick used to like volunteer at or something.
Yeah, his ex-wife ran too. His ex-wife Mix is the one that ran the shelter, and that's how he knew Bill.
And he finds out like things haven't been going great. The shelter closed down because people weren't accessing it, and the donations and the funding and stuff wasn't coming in. And basically through like puzzle deducing, I don't want to talk about the underpass because there's the reporter in there.
Yeah.
But like you find that like you can pop the hood of the car. Bill has the keys to the car. He's been using that as like his own like personal bar, like bedroom or something, like getting changed there or whatever. But and this is what we were saying about the double like working out what to do. Like I started the car and then the car didn't work. So then I had to interact with Bill to get Bill to sit in the car so I could look under the hood.
Yeah, and see what the problem is and everything.
Yeah, you find the jerry can to the dock off the side, and basically you find out the fuel cable's been caught. This car was like a joyride. It's crashed into a lamppost and then been ditched. Yeah. And
I am curious as to how much, and maybe we'll learn this right now as we're all going through. Although Kai said, it feels like this is very tutorial-esque in its presentation. But I'm curious of how much you can solve puzzles and how much information you need. Like, are all puzzle solving going to be the same, right? Because like the whole dying and repeating, it seems like there's a sequence you have to do in order to be successful. But I'm curious how much of this now and even later that's going to change, where we can all solve puzzles and get information in different ways. And even when we do end up getting into the underpass with the reporter, you can just tell her to fuck off, or you can kind of like talk to her more and more. I chose to interact with her, but I'm wondering if you told her to leave, if there's different ways and different solutions to get the thing. So
I do think, based on reading about the fucking engine, it seems to be pretty set up for like RNG. So I would imagine that there is like some, like obviously the core experience is going to be the same, but like, I mean, I think you can do, because like I went and got the oil can before talking to Bill. Like you can just, if you just go over to the side, if you walk to where the dock is, you can find the oil can and grab that, and then you're like, oh, okay, like I need to, and then you can put it in the car, and the car still won't start because the fuel line is leaking, and then you have to fix that. So you can do it in different like orders. It's just like what you interact with first and what you find,
which will be interesting because I don't know if it's gonna kind of get. I mean, we'll talk about the puzzle at the end about the death and stuff, but like, I know it's not the same, but it kind of reminded me of like 12 minutes. Where you're like, I know what I need to get, and I know the order I need to do it, and I know. And you kind of every time you fail, you was almost kind of like relearning, like, okay, right, that's not the right order. But I guess in theory, like Kai said, you could go and get the jerry can. And like I went. Before I tried to start the car, I went onto the underpass, which is where the reporter is, and I found the washing machine, and I kicked the washing machine, but I didn't know that I needed the hose for the car, so I wasn't prompted to break the hose off of the washing machine. I had to get that information first. So that's what I'm saying about the redying, like the dying again and stuff. Like, it'd be interesting, like, because I started after this game finished. It's like, do you want to save and quit? I saved and quit, so I haven't seen the next cutscene is or anything. So it'd be interesting to see, like, if we do start in the car at the beginning, then, like, in theory, we would know that we could just go and get the hose from the washing machine.
There are achievements where you avoid unnecessary deaths, so I'm assuming you can also die additionally in this game and avoid death. Like, there are definitely ones that are baked in. Like, I think the drowning is, like, obviously something you have to experience because it's teaching you, like, the conceit of the game essentially. But it does seem like there are deaths that you can avoid and deaths that you can't avoid depending on your decision.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. I'm curious again if with this first section, and we'll get into it. It feels very like intentional with the steps, where it's like it reveals it kind of section by section. But I'm wondering if I could have just figured out the steps in order to do all that and not died at all, or died less than other people have died. Like how that is going to work.
I mean, yeah, like it might be that like someone has a piece of someone has something in their inventory that helps them to solve a puzzle, and you try and do something, you don't have it, and so you die. And as I said, like, you'll come back then with the knowledge of like, oh, I need this before I go and do that.
Yeah. Well, we again, like Ben said, we learned that the car is needing a hose in order to fully end up starting. And so going to the underpass, I did the same thing as Ben did. I went there before I ended up doing any of the car stuff. I explored that area. I didn't really talk to the reporter just yet until afterward. But I realized that I had to have like something to unscrew the pipe from the washing machine. But there is a reporter under the underpass doing some field research. He said she's young, but is she like college, high school? I couldn't really parse together.
I think she's just out of college.
Old, so I'm assuming she's college post-college age.
That's kind of what I would assume. But she's investigating kind of the disappearance of a lot of the homeless that are in this underpass. There's been rumors of, for some reason, they all have been going missing, which is
reports of people with glowing eyes.
Yeah.
It's ironic because the literal plot of Curse of the Golden Idol
is this,
or the sequel of Curse of the Golden Idol. What is that one?
Return of the Golden Idol.
Is that what it's called?
No,
I don't know.
It's Case of the Golden Idol, and then
this is what Google's for.
I'll get there.
Case of the Golden Idol and sequel is Rise. The Rise of the Golden Idol. The literal plot of the Rise of the Golden Idol is that homeless people are going missing and they have glowing red eyes.
Oh, interesting.
That is the central plot of that entire game. Which when I saw this, I was like, is that like an homage? Because they're very similar. They're the same, like essentially, they're both 16-bit, 32-bit art style, point and click adventure puzzle games. It's like very.
I will say about the reporter, like she is so out of touch. It's fucking unreal.
Yeah, really. She has one intention, and that's there's like people that are like, I'm assuming struggling for their meals every day. They're sleeping in newspapers. She's just like, I'm just ready to. She's very like excited about like getting this report, and I'm just like,
it's not even that for me. Like it was like. It was the word. Like, I mean, I really, really spoke to her. Like, I did every dialogue option that you could do with Carter. And basically, she pulls out, like, at some point, she pulls out a massive fucking Bowie knife, and you like, oh, I need something to cut this hose. And she's like, oh, something like this. And she's like, if you can get me the information I need for the story, then like you can use the knife.
I thought someone was getting stabbed in this interaction. I thought someone was going to come out of nowhere and take the knife, or someone was going to get stabbed.
But Carter's got his head on. Like he's like, you're more likely to get stabbed if you're carrying a knife yourself than anything else. But it's the words that she uses. So like she starts talking and she's like, oh, so like, what's it like for you homeless down here? And he's like, well, hold on, like you homeless.
You
like,
people? The fuck?
And it was really interesting because obviously like I work with people at the minute who were previously homeless and people who were like rough sleeping and stuff. So it was really interesting to see just this like super disconnected person of being like, yeah, like, she's talking about how she's going to go home and she's got this like nice security and all of this stuff. And they're like, you're talking to people who like don't know where their meal's coming from tomorrow. And you're talking about like the comforts you have in life. It's just fucking out of touch.
Yeah.
But basically I spoke to her a little bit and was basically like, I don't know about anything. And then I confided in her, and she was like, has anything weird happened? And I was like, actually, this fucking dude just got shot like upstairs, and told her about everything I witnessed.
Surprisingly, no one heard. I mean, Bill says he thought it was like kids with fireworks, but I feel like gunshots that close, right above, would have been like very noticeable.
I also think, like, again, I don't know if I'm like putting shit in from like personal experience of the work, but like people in that situation, they ain't getting involved in that shit. If it don't concern them, it's not my circus, not my
monkeys.
At
least
like,
her,
nothing
like,
to
she
do
would
with
have
me.
heard gunshots and been like, I gotta get out of here. Like, this is dangerous.
They won't, like, at least in my experience, like something like that happened. They're like, no, I didn't see shit. Like I did. It's like, that fucking meme where he's like, as a matter of fact, actually, like I'm 80% blind in this. It's literally like that. It's like,
not to
like,
already be conspiratorial.
No, I'm here for conspiracies. Let's go.
What if we were the person under the tarp?
Oh, like it's an older version of us.
I think it's leaning that way, though.
The whole premise of the whole premise is right. Like you keep dying, and your job is to avoid death, and you're on the train with this person, and then they get shot, and essentially, like, that was you living that experience, and now you have to escape, essentially, right? And then when you ask people about the gunshots, because you never theoretically got shot, you escaped the train car. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
So like that never is what, like, when we died, that actually didn't actually happen.
Yeah, it's like essentially they combined two experiences, which is you dying the first time, getting shot by all of those people, and you being in the train car and escaping out of the top. And we assumed that the person who was shot is a different person.
Yeah,
but like,
I like that.
It's just us, living the death and then having to figure out how to get out of the death, because that seems to be like the whole kind of hinge that the game exists on. So I don't know. I have no idea if that's accurate.
And I kind of like where you're leaning too, because this idea that like doing this enough would make you go crazy, right? And like the old man was seemed as crazy, and he said, "Don't open that. We're gonna die again." He did say "we're," which, I mean, in the moment I thought of just like the two of them, but he could also be "we're" as like an
we're
entity,
like we're
us.
the same. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It could be like like a full on like Son of Storm situation. Like it's he's gone back to like try and stop it.
But it would also make sense why no one heard the gunshots, because if he escapes, the gunshots don't happen because he doesn't die, and then they're like, I don't know what you're talking, like, no one's heard anything.
Interesting.
I get it. Yeah. So like, if future him came back to the past, and he was the one who died instead of Carter, then it never, in theory, in that timeline, it never happened.
You know what I smell? Bootstrap paradox.
Ben said it. And so this is already, I mean, we talked about the references to games we played before, like Disco Elysium and Norco, and this is already giving me like Kentucky Route Zero vibes. I'm pretty sure like the first episode of that, we were already throwing like crazy tinfoil hat conspiracies in what was going on with that. So interesting. I like that. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
I mean, it will probably never get answered, but I am interested.
But I do like that theory, because it would explain. Yeah, it would explain the the lack of gunshots. It may be that people.
That's what I was confused about. Like, even if you were saying, Ben, in that situation, people just keep to themselves. The reporter, at the very least, with her personality, I feel like she would be like, "Oh, I have to get out of here now."
All over. No, dude, she'd be all over that. She'd
or if not running away, she'd be up there being like, "What happened? Like, let me go investigate." So that's curious. But yeah, you do get the big knife from her, which you can unscrew the pipe from the washing machine and use that for the car. But she leaves first. She leaves the underpass before you.
I sent her to Bill. That was why.
Go talk to Bill for more stuff.
I was like, there's a dude outside Bill. He'll be able to fill you in on what's happening. And then basically you go and you start the car, if I remember rightly.
You hear screaming.
And then you hear screaming. Yeah. And so you go off to the dock. Bill is nowhere to be seen, and
I didn't think about that. Oh, they probably took him.
They potentially took Bill, so Bill's nowhere to be seen, and the reporter is being held basically like with the mouth over her hand now, and you've got like one dude in a fucking rubber dinghy on the dock, and then one dude who's up, and he's basically got his hand over her mouth, and so the puzzle now is like, how do I do anything?
Well, they're also both like secretly like spec ops, like military or something too. That's where
they got
glowing
night
green
vision
eyes came
cameras
from.
on.
They're fucking Splinter Celled up. Like they are
Yes.
like, and this is, I'm assuming, the Minjani or whatever that Bill
that are kidnapping homeless, the glowing green
people
eyes.
with glowing eyes that are yeah, exactly. I don't know about used to, but like in this situation, I was like, that is a rubber dinghy. I have a giant knife. Let me throw my giant knife at the rubber dinghy.
That is the most European ass doorbell of all time.
It's so egregious.
No, my intention was like to fight. I tried clicking knife on guy and all this stuff. He's like, no, I'll be outnumbered, or
I
see
also
me.
did the same thing. I was like, I'm gonna stab him. I'm gonna sneak up behind him.
I was like, I got a machete here. Let's do.
I was
this.
like, if I like pop the dinghy, they ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I mean, I know this is like the normal sequence, but I was like sitting there trying to decide on what to do, and then you get knocked out by one from behind. So I was like, damn, I took too long to decide. I know that probably happens regardless, but I like the lore idea of him not knowing what to do and then getting knocked out by one of them.
It would be interesting to see again, because I don't know where chapter 2 goes. Like,
yeah, same.
Do we get to kind of relive that, and then with our knowledge now that that's going to happen, can we deter her away from that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're just going to be like wherever we got thrown in the water, because we'll talk about that right now. We're going to be there. We're going to be like on the beach or on the sand of wherever we were.
It would play into Kai's theory, though, right? Of like altering events that have happened to get a different outcome.
It seems, I mean, in my interpretation, it seems like the time restarts only the moments before you start dying. So like, because you were going to get shot, you restart and you can escape the train car. Because you were going to drown, you can free yourself with as many attempts. It's like that fucking, it's not Ryan Reynolds.
No, it's a
Gyllenhaal movie on the train.
Oh, yes. I was thinking of the Tom Cruise movie.
Oh, yeah, that's
Emily
another
Blunt, the Live, Die, Repeat, where he's like the soldier and he has to die over and over again and come back. That's what I was thinking of.
Source Code is the movie from 2011 with Jake Gyllenhaal, which essentially he just keeps trying to stop prevent a train from exploding and keeps dying over and over and over again.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting though, because I'm just thinking for Kai's fin, there has to be a time travel at some point, because otherwise.
Yeah, if the loop is just like I can die and come back right before.
Otherwise there wouldn't be two dudes. There wouldn't be two dudes in the car.
Yeah,
there would just be Carter was coming back to life and being like, "Oh, that."
Or do you ever see that Rick and Morty episode where he has the rewind time button?
To Rick and
yeah, he has the save his place in time and go back. It wasn't like actually that. Rick was like, there's an alternate universe Morty that dies and you take his place, and it's kind of like when we die we kind of just take the place of another alive one that's in a similar scenario, and we kind of do that over and over again. It's kind of like an alternate universe kind of thing. I still don't know how that like makes us cross paths with our quote unquote older self to Kai's theory, but I don't know, could be something like that.
But yeah, as you said, you get bonked on the back of the head, and then you basically get like thrown into the ocean.
Like, you wake up underwater with, I'm assuming, some heavy object tied to your ankles, your bag over your head, and your arms tied behind your back. Yeah. What got me too, which interesting kind of theory, is when you kind of pull back from this, there's multiple bodies that are floating here. First thought was these are all the other homeless that have been kidnapped by these guys. My second thought is, what if this is like other us's that have like died, again leading to that situation, that have died in the similar situation before.
Maybe.
But yeah, we have to try to solve getting out of here. And again, this one's in pretty not straightforward steps, but they kind of like lead you on, like, you have the knife, try to cut your hands free. I tried cutting my feet immediately afterward, and he's like, I can't see, so cutting the bag off of your head is kind of there's like steps that you have to take in order to survive.
Sorry.
No, continue.
Go for it.
No, I was gonna say I managed most of this up until so I cut my hands free. And then I took the bag off my head and I tried to cut my feet. And then he was like, oh, like, I can't breathe. And I was like, okay, well, fuck, what do I do? And then I couldn't piece together the jerry can part of the puzzle.
Yeah, that was my struggle too.
And then because there's not like a clear like combine option or anything. You have to click the jerry can and then he holds it. It doesn't. It's in your inventory, but it's on his person, and then you have to click the tube and drag that and click the jerry can. Yeah. And then he kind of uses that to get air
a
from
semblance of air, so he has no, because he doesn't have enough air in time to cut his
I died a lot.
I think I died like 3 or 4 times before.
Yeah, I probably died around there, about that many times.
I think I'm in the 5 or 6 range.
Okay. My first death was pretty much what you were saying, Ben, of just like trying to figure out the jerry can, and again being very unsure and not knowing that I can kind of take the pipe, the pipe out of my inventory and use that for the jerry can, clicking on that and dragging it through.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that like I struggled to piece together, because he holds the jerry can, but it's in the inventory, and everything else in the inventory he doesn't hold. He doesn't walk around with a knife or anything like that. So it took me a couple of attempts to piece it together. And then I was like, oh, because at first I just tried drinking out of the jerry can. That was the first thing I did. Was I put the
choke.
I put lip to the jerry can and was just like, oh, like I'm gonna just try and huff the air out this jerry can, and then he basically dies on the fumes.
And I mean, I'm just still thinking about like the old man theory as well, and just like this idea of insanity, like going through this even over and over again, and just like he talks about how it feels to drown and how the water goes in his lungs, and very vividly in his descriptions of this, and that sounds awful.
I think that's the other thing, right? As well, is like it's not like he can't feel pain. Like he's gonna feel like if he gets stabbed or if he runs out of oxygen or whatever. Like he feels that and then he comes back. So
God, this would be like one of those like in like The Boys, like one of those caveat superpowers where it's like I can't die, but what that means is if I do die, I just come back to life right before I'm going to die again. I have to figure out not how to die, which is kind of funny.
Real bummer.
Real fucking bummer. Bummer. But eventually you manage to solve the puzzle. You stick the tube into the jerry can, you get free, and you hear him kind of cough as he gets to the surface. And then this is going to be interesting about this game is like you get this like end screen. It's like end of chapter 1.
End chapter 1. You can continue or you can save and quit. There's a very intentional like this is the end of this chapter, or you can move on.
It gave you that like I mean I want to just describe it as like a graveyard, that kind of like the kind of graveyard of like floating bodies in the bottom of this pier. And it's just like that's what we're left with. We now know that Carter can, when he's due to die, he comes back to life seconds before he was about to die. And I guess kind of like I said with the 12 minutes, we then have the knowledge of what worked and what didn't work, and we're going to have to kind of use that.
I took a lot of screenshots in this game because this like the visual styling is very like I love like unique and beautiful. Like I took a lot of like, even though like you were saying that end screen where it has like the end of chapter 1 where it's like the floating dead bodies is horrific, but it's kind of like it's very like picturesque. Like it's kind of cool.
It's hauntingly beautiful.
Here, I'll put it up so we can show the show. How do I share a screen again? Oh, there we go. Show the I forgot for my brain.
How long have we been doing this podcast?
I don't know, man. It was the people at home can see like at least a glimpse of it, so you can see the end chapter.
Yeah, if you're watching
like,
video,
look at that. That's like crazy. Like I just love the pixel art's really cool. I think it's done really well.
Yeah, and it's got that cool balance because I found like sometimes when there's like high fidelity pixel art stuff, it kind of loses some of that like pixel art charm, but this like balances it just well enough that like you're like it's defined and it's pixel art and it's kind of got that nostalgia to it.
It's very similar to Norco. It's a little less detailed than Norco, but it's the same like vibe, like a grungy, dark, neon-y pixel art.
If you've played this or you've played games like this, check out Norco, because Norco, even though the story was batshit crazy and ended in a weird ass way, I still enjoyed Norco. Like that was still a good time. I remember enjoying that game. Yeah, but after we get free, that is the end of chapter 1. That is the end of our discussion on this episode of the game, and there's a lot of unknown, a lot that we don't know going forward. We know about his power or some kind of power that he has
/ curse.
That's pretty much it. So let's go around. Let's kind of gauge how we're feeling about the intro of this game, and I mean, Kai, you were talking about your theory, but kind of what we think going forward. Ben, I'll send it over to you. How you feeling about Drifter so far?
I'm fucking hooked, dog. Like I'm so intrigued, and I think I'm interested to see, like, where's Bill. Part of me is even wondering about the smaller details, like, is the phone now damaged? So, like, are we going to be able to contact our sister? Because I'm assuming the phone was in our pocket.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
And I think I'm interested in that kind of the puzzle mechanics that are going to come with every time you die, going back a couple of seconds and kind of having that knowledge and being able to do things a little bit differently. Sure. I'm using my experience of playing Norco and playing Kentucky, and I'm kind of disregarding logic, and I'm kind of just like going with the flow, and it is very much a case of like, oh yeah, this dude can do this because reasons. Yep. I do really like Kai's idea of it kind of being like a future him that's come back to try and stop this from happening. And I think he says something about cycles as well. When
you have to break the cycle is what he says.
He's like yeah. So maybe that's his way of trying to break the cycle. That will be interesting because then that's like a whole different thing. It's like, is there alternate dimensions? Is it time travel? Like, how does it kind of work? I think there's the right amount of unknowns that I'm intrigued. Do you know what I mean? It's not like too much where I'm like, I have no fucking clue what's happening. Yeah. But it's got enough that I'm like, I want to know what happened to Bill, what happened to the reporter, because I'm assuming she got taken away with the shady figures. I mean, we spoke about the gameplay wise. Like, it took a little bit of getting used to. I think it's been a while since I played a proper point and click like puzzle game. And this isn't kind of. I feel like disco. I feel like disco. I feel like disco is a little bit different because it's kind of point and click esque, but not to this level where there's like puzzle solving point and click.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to get into that mindset. But like, so yeah, his voice has grown on me. At first, it was very jarring, and I was kind of like, "This is an interesting voice for a character." But yeah, the gameplay's great. The kind of the art style is great. The environments the game's making are really cool. Yeah, very, very intrigued. Very, very curious to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I ditto a lot that you're saying, where it's just like the mystery has hooked me. I'm already like, what? I mean, even in the very beginning, I was very hooked on what the hell is going on when the old man gets shot in the first place. Like, that alone kind of sets up this like expectation of you're not really going to know what the hell's going on throughout most of the game, and that's kind of like the pull and the intrigue of it. Again, it feels good being back in a game like this. Like Ben said, we haven't played through a point and click adventure in a long time, and it's just like, it's a style of game that I love coming back to, especially with like the mystery side of things, where it's just like a very hands off in its gameplay. We had just played Shadow the Hedgehog, which feels like a lot of gameplay mechanics and ones that don't work very well. So it kind of feels good to kind of be in one that's a little more pulled back. Yeah, I'm so curious. And did they take the reporter because she was getting too close? Like, she's not the quote unquote clientele that they're used to taking. She's not an older homeless person, which is
she's sniffing around the truth, dog.
Yeah,
she knows too much.
She knows too much. So did they take her because of that? Like, why? What is our real connection? Where's Bill through all of this? Is Bill one of them? Whoa.
Who's to
That's
say?
crazy. Bill's a sleeper agent. He's like a spy. He's supposed
Where's Bill?
He's acting as like a homeless man to be in there. So yeah, I'm very intrigued and already hooked on what this game is presenting with its mystery. It has beautiful visual style, and yes, if you're worried by any of our comments, you get used to Carter's voice very quickly, which you're gonna hear a lot of. Again, I am only imagining and predicting that we're gonna hear a lot of Bill talking, especially like in. Maybe this was intentional, but when he's describing himself drowning in the water, he talks so quick that it's like it almost gave me a little bit of anxiety. Yeah, I'm like, bro, chill. I need to solve this puzzle. And he's like, you're talking way too fast. You're freaking me out, man.
Die. And you're like, dude, calm down. Like, I got you.
Hold on, I got you, buddy. So, I mean, if that is intentional, that kind of very much adds to the experience, because there was a lot of anxiety in that situation anyway. So I'm very curious to see where this game goes. But yeah, I'm enjoying all of it so far. I'm loving it. Kai, sending off to you. How you feeling?
My greatest hope for this game was that it was going to be similar to the other games in the vein of this, of the Norcos and Kentuckys and Discos, and it seems to be living up to that, to that ilk quite well, which I'm satisfied with. It's definitely strange, like all of these games are.
Sure.
I think the death loop kind of
Definitely, that's another game that
mechanic
does this.
and way of approaching is like interesting, especially in something like this, like a puzzle game like this. Like it is, it's a fascinating way of kind of incorporating that into the story. So and based on looking at the preview in Steam, it seems that it gets more mechanically complex and more like puzzle focused as you go further into the game. So excited to see how it kind of like fleshes itself out a bit. I think it's pretty open-ended at the moment. We don't know a ton about what's happening other than, we're homeless and for some reason some spec ops government is fucking, trying to kill us for reasons that are very unclear at the moment. So I'm very hopeful in going into this. I hope it gets even fucking weirder. That would be my one.
Let's get weird.
I don't want it to just be like the government is bad thing and be like, no, give me that magical realism. Give me.
Okay, I feel like there's a spectrum of that too, because like the old man that was leading the cult that went to space at the end of Norco. Spoilers for Norco.
I like that shit. That was fun.
I was like, what the fuck is happening, man?
That's what I want. That's my expectation. Give me old man cult leader. The guy who dies on the train comes back and is actually, the fucking.
He's the guy from Norco.
Yeah, he's just it's a tie-in. But no, it's written well. Once again, the voice is difficult for me. Every time I jump back into it, it takes me like 10 minutes to readjust to this being like, and I think it's also just because like playing Disco, the main character doesn't have a voice. Like you have internalized thoughts, and all of your different internalized thoughts have different voices, which is like and some of those voices are fucking insane. Like trust me, I understand. There's like, especially like I think the limbic system in like oh yes man, it's fucking, I understand it's weird and jarring, but at least it's like brief and it only represents a small. This is like the main character's voice through the whole game, and it's just like okay. But once again, you will adjust to that. That'll be fine. And if you're Australian, it probably doesn't even sound weird. It probably just sounds normal. This is how you all speak. So who knows?
Probably sounds like an actor who's from New Zealand because he's not Australian.
Yes. No, that was Carl Urban. This is different. But yes, if you think it sounds like Carl Urban, he's not from Australia. But yeah, I am excited to kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this, get out of the prologue in the first chapter and start figuring out, what's going on here and what other deaths we can potentially prevent.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it's behind the scenes, but we got a double episode recording next weekend, boys. We got a lot of meat to cover.
A lot of Drifter.
Yeah, this section was short, but I have no idea how long the game gets after this. I mean, I know how long the game is in general, but how long each individual.
You never know the legs like, do you? Yeah.
Well, if it's 9 hours long and this was 33 minutes, probably it's
one of those legs is a Mega Starmie level, bro. Like one of them is just gonna be fucking long.
I understood that reference. Yeah, well, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for getting to the end of the episode as always. Let's try that again. In next week's episode, it's that Get Wrecked I was talking about, where myself and Kay, Moon Does Cappuccino, who actually just started a podcast of herself as of recording. I think a couple episodes will be out by the time you're listening to this, but Heart Event Podcast, she just started a podcast too, so make sure to check that out. But yes, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Sky, and Little Goody Two Shoes. Very excited. I haven't recorded the episode yet, but it's going to be a great time. So I can talk about Pokemon and a cool new indie game that I just found out, which is always fun.
Let me add that Little Goody Two Shoes to my backlog.
Oh yes, I haven't finished it yet. The game is short. I think it's 5 hours or so.
You're saying all the right stuff, dog.
Yeah, it's not very long at all. And Ben, there is dating sim mechanics built into it, where you can kind of pick different characters to romance and like go on little dates with too. So
Welcome to Play Along Podcast, the most down bad podcast in the universe.
Kai, we just love, dog. We just love.
Yeah, well, you don't love enough to play Five Hearts Under One Roof sequel, so you know.
I'm not.
I don't want to hear anything about loving love until
okay. Well, you hate on all the horniness, but listen to that episode because Kai was in his element in Five Hearts Under One Roof. Let me tell you,
bad mate.
I'm ready to jump back in.
Because they were Asian baddies. That's why.
That's true. You know what? The Asian baddies right there. Yeah, we got to get Keith back and have him back on to talk about the sequel to that game. Oh man. But if you're here for the book club, the next episode of The Drifter is going to be on May 19th. So look forward to that. Actually, I'll probably just like confirm it now. There's only going to be a guest for the last episode. Again, we're bulking, and having us needing to record episodes in very specific times makes it a little hard to get a lot of guests on because time zones and schedules between just the three of us is already like juggling, and you put another person that has a different time schedule. So I have confirmed a guest for the finale, so we do have someone lined up for the last episode, but that's going to be the only guest we have on for the Drifter, which is fun. You get more of just the three of us for this season, so hopefully you like it.
Spoiled last season, so
yeah, got spoiled with all the guests that we got to have on, but that was a good time. But I think that's it. Boys, do you have anything else you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
See you on the next one.
Let's go.
See you on the next one. Again, if you have games that you want us to play or want to recommend us, head over to the Discord. Link is down below in the description, and go into that channel and just drop games as many as you want. I'll put them in a spreadsheet, and we might play the game that you recommend.
Maybe.
Or maybe we're already playing the game that you recommended, and we're here. We're here anyways. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening again. Thanks for supporting the show, and we'll see you all next week. Peace out, everybody.
Bye. Oh shit!
Is that what you thought Mick was gonna sound like?
I tried. Oi! Oi!